Hey friends, how's everybody doing? How are you,
Hello.
Amber?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. Looks like we got a few people in the chat. Hey, Ellie and Millie the Mermaid, 1970. Hey,
All
baby.
right.
For anyone who doesn't know, 1970 is my husband, y'all. But so Amber has been reading a book. Didn't you say it was by Marc Feldman
Correct. Playing sick.
about Munchausen by proxy? And she ended up feeling shocked by the same thing I did when I was reading about Dr. Kenneth Feldman. And that is that it appears by these MBP experts, I'm saying, quote unquote experts, uh, they make no difference at all when diagnosing Munchausen by proxy of whether or not the symptoms that they are verifying in the person they're diagnosing with MBP, they make no difference of whether it's simply attention seeking and whether or not the children's actually being hurt medically.
Yeah. It's yeah, I decided, well, let's look into this MBP. I want to know more about it. And since I was on with you and we were discussing that book from a
Sickened,
actual
yeah.
victim, um, yeah, so I popped it in because I listened to Audible books and I was getting ready and I just kept hearing him talk about people pretending to be sick, but not like making themselves sick or making somebody else sick.
Right.
They're just pretending to be sick, playing sick, right?
Yeah.
In my mind, that's no comparison to Munchausen by proxy.
Yeah, we've all been thinking of Munchausen by proxy as medically abusing the child and thinking that there's actually a difference in the diagnosis of malingering versus Munchausen by proxy. And it seems that according to these experts who are the people that government bodies go to determine if this diagnosis is real, they make no difference of whether or not it's all attention seeking kind of, grifty con, or maybe even a hypochondriac or someone with medical
Yeah.
anxiety, or as we've seen so many times, someone who has a child with a rare issue that hasn't been diagnosed yet.
Yeah. And so while I was listening to this book, I'm thinking, goodness gracious, I wonder what my doctors think about me because it's like I've never had a doctor, say, "Oh, are you faking?" or calling me out or anything like that. But I've been to so many different doctors and I have to regurgitate, everything that I've been through. And so I'm sure so I was thinking, what do these doctors think about me?
Yeah, it's some of the diagnostic criteria for anything chronic is really strange. I've shared with y'all that I got my diagnosis for POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, when they did a tilt table test on me in the Joplin Hospital in, I think it was 2008, something like
Mhm.
that. And I fainted right away. Well, whenever I was being interviewed about this beforehand, they asked me, well, what have other doctors told you about your fainting and blah 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 and everything? And I just
Mhm.
kind of did a deep sigh, and I'm like, I've had so many explanations, and it gets exciting that I have an answer, but then the things that are supposed to cure it based on that explanation don't work, and I just don't even know. I don't even know. And
Mhm.
they were like, "Oh, okay, like, yeah, so this is a sign whenever people get diagnosed with POTS, they've usually been trying to figure out what's wrong forever." That's one of the I'm not sure if they used the word criteria, but it was clear that to know that someone has POTS, part of the thing that they looked for is that they've been struggling to find this diagnosis.
Hmm.
But yeah, by these MBP definitions, if the diagnosis is never found, it just seems like that any doctor could very easily slap on a, "Oh, you have Munchausen's."
That's
if
what
they
I was
can't find the
thinking.
actual issue. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, "Dang," I mean, they have not been able to figure out what's wrong with me. Um, I've gotten all kinds of different diagnoses over the years, and as I was listening to him just talk about everything, I was just thinking, "Oh my goodness," it's like a lot of the stuff he was talking about was, like, stuff that I'm going through and stuff, and it's like, "Okay, so does this guy think that I'm like that because I don't have an actual diagnosis?"
Yeah, it really that was my biggest shock was whenever I first started reading the Kenneth Feldman stuff and everything was that it just seems like if they can't find a diagnosis, they start assuming that it's being faked when
Mhm.
that qualifies as Munchausen's or Munchausen by proxy, when we've been, kind of assuming all this time that in order to have, that kind of diagnosis that especially in the by proxy context means that people's children will get removed.
Yeah.
And you would think that they would need something way more concrete than somebody who is either, experiencing something they can't find a diagnosis for, or maybe even someone with hypochondria or medical anxiety. That's not a crime.
No, it's not. Yeah, the whole, hypochondriac thing too, it was like, okay, why in the world are we classifying them or why are they classifying that as, um, Munchausen or factitious, uh, what is it called? Factitious
Disorder by whatever,
imposed on another.
imposed on another, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like, because we all know hypochondriacs, right?
Yeah.
And I would never, well, maybe one person. For the most part, I would never say that they had Munchausen's or anything like that. That would to me, that's just so off-putting, and, that label is it a label? Because so when you look at Munchausen's and, malingering and all that stuff, um, it's just like I don't remember where I was going with that.
Oh,
Sorry.
you're fine, but once the label is applied, it can be really debilitating because some of the people we were reading about in the Seattle Kenneth Feldman cases, even after being cleared, couldn't get the Munchausen by proxy red flag alert off their file and were having trouble getting their children into other doctors.
Mhm. That's scary,
Mhm.
and
And,
especially if your child has an actual disease like most of these
yeah.
people do, and they're not getting treatment.
Right, and it's like we were saying about hypochondriacs, that's being a hypochondriac is not a crime, and those
Mhm.
people are generally not faking anything. They actually have anxiety about their health and are very afraid of being sick and not knowing about it until it's too late.
Yeah.
And it just feels like someone experiencing that sort of anxiety about their own health or about their child's health could so easily experience being flagged like that and it really messing up their life.
Mhm. Yeah, and, you know, uh, and as I was listening too, I was thinking, because they were talking about, like, just saying you're sick, like, we all have used an excuse to get out of something, "Oh, I'm sick," or whatever.
Yeah, like, I can't imagine anyone can say that at no time in their life did they ever need a, day off work or for something or other that they thought that probably wouldn't get approved, so they just called and said, "Sorry, I'm sick."
Yeah, but
And,
that
that could be
yeah,
flagged.
they're right.
Millie the Mermaid in the comments, she says, "We can't really give anyone the diagnosis until MBP is a proven fact, right?" Well, unfortunately, that's part of our concern. It seems like from what we're reading from Dr. Kenneth Feldman and from Dr. Marc Feldman, that they can flag a person with MBP in their medical file and have them investigated to the point where people have to legally defend themselves based off just a suspicion.
That is so scary.
Just simply, if people are getting some of the symptoms that they talked about to look for is if a mother knows way too much about the possibilities of what might be wrong with their child, they're obsessed with their child's health. Um, if the mother was over aggressive with doctors demanding tests, well, I think we all know of cases in the news and probably personally too, where a mother or father or caregiver or whatever did have to be very insistent and forceful with
Mhm,
medical staff to get testing that they thought wasn't needed, but it turned out in the end it was. Sometimes the medical staff gets it wrong and the parents are right. Sometimes it's the other way around.
mhm,
Sometimes the parents are thinking it's one thing and they just don't have the medical knowledge to know.
mhm.
But those things can be so innocent. And
Yeah.
yeah, by these definitions we're seeing with these experts, oh my God, they could be very easily flagged. It's nuts.
Yeah, it really is, and I've gotten to the point where my husband usually goes with me to doctor's visits because, first of all, I'm told so many things, and I'm
Mhm.
going to so many different doctors that I can't keep it straight. So, he has to keep it straight, and he actually has been an advocate for me because I've had doctors treat me badly, not saying I was faking or anything, but just treating me badly.
Yeah.
And, after that first time, my husband was just like, "Okay, I'm going with you."
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I shared with y'all, I think it was when we were on the Slacker show doing that interview. I shared with y'all before I got my POTS diagnosis, doctors would get frustrated. They get frustrated when you show up with the same thing and they can't figure it out. And what kept happening to me was I'd have fainting spells in public, and I'd basically wake up and 911 had been called, and I'm, kind of dizzy and out of it, and I get taken on an ambulance to the hospital. And by the
Mhm,
time I get there, I'm out of the episode that caused me to faint, and they can't find anything wrong with me. And I had a one doctor one time, I think I was 17, 18, and I fainted out of my chair in public again. And this doctor was irritated because they'd seen me for fainting before. And it was a female doctor too. And she said, "You're just one of those Hollywood blonde types that faints easily."
that's crazy, the but, I've had more trouble with women doctors than men doctors.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I had somebody tell me, okay, so I've tested positive for lupus 4 times, right? But I don't
Mhm.
have all of the symptoms, and one of them is my hands don't change colors when I get cold,
Yeah.
and, um, so they sent me to this doctor, I can't even remember what her specialty was. It had to have been, like, rheumatology or something like that, and so I go in there and she's asking me, like, "Why are you here?" And I said that I had tested positive for lupus, 4 times, and then she started asking me, she's like, "Have you had a lot of trauma in your life?" I'm like, Yeah." And she's like, "Did you know that lupus can be caused by trauma?" And I'm like,
What?
"What?" My husband was sitting there and he's like, "What the heck is going on?"
I'm
We
gonna
had an
Google that real
actual
quick.
Yeah, we had a doctor telling us that lupus is from trauma,
Well, a
and
quick Google says, while trauma is not a direct cause of lupus, studies have shown that it can increase the risk of
oh,
developing or exacerbating the disease. But I mean, that's the case with any type of stress. I think we know stress and trauma is not good for the body.
mhm,
And, if we were prone to develop any type of disease, trauma and stress it seems like it could exacerbate anything.
mhm, right. Yeah, so I don't know, I guess maybe she was right, I don't know, but, I just felt like she was a loony. I'm
Yeah.
like, what the
I
heck is going on?
Yeah, I remember trying a new doctor one time, and her first advice to me was to quit shaving my legs. It
What?
allows infection to be introduced into the body. And I was like, thank you for your time. Never went back.
Okay, so I had this one experience. This happened last year. So since 2021, I test pregnant every time I get blood work done or urinalysis done. I test pregnant, and they haven't been able to figure out why. And so I was getting another workup by another doctor who I was seeing for the first time. And she sits on this chair, this rolling chair that's at the beginning of the doorway, and she rolls all the way in and she's like, mouse poop. And I'm like, what? She's like, you test chronically pregnant because of mouse poop. And I'm like,
What?
yeah. And I was like, okay, well, I haven't been around any. And she's like, oh, well, I've seen it in the Boot Hill, and I've seen it in all kinds of different places. And I'm like, okay.
Oh my
So
gosh.
so that was her diagnosis. And so I recently just went to another doctor because the VA sent me outside uh, for community care. And I told that doctor, and she just started laughing hysterically. And she's like, what in the world are you talking about? I've never heard about anything like that before. And I'm like, I don't know. That's just what she told me.
Oh my Lord. Sunshine Lane here in the comments says, I used to be a social worker for children with complex disabilities, and I saw lots of mothers treated with suspicion because they were too anxious about their child's health. Why wouldn't they be? Honestly, yeah, that's part of what's so freaky to me when I started reading their Marc Feldman and Kenneth Feldman's tips on diagnostic criteria for MBP, and that I keep repeating the same thing, but I was just like, oh my God, any
Mhm.
hypochondriac or person with health anxiety can fall into this category.
Well,
What
and
on
when you're
earth?
yeah, and when you're trying to find out what's wrong with your kid, I mean,
Yeah.
so I was very invested in my daughter's, so my daughter has something called alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency, which is a genetic, disease, and, it affects the liver and the lungs, and, when she finally got that diagnosis, I went on the computer and I started doing research, and I joined all these groups of people
Mhm.
whose kids had it, and we were going back and forth talking about, the symptoms and everything, and, educating ourselves.
Yeah.
And luckily, Alora went into remission pretty early, and she's only had a flare up one other time, and that was in the 3rd grade. But had she been sick that whole time, I would have totally been one of those moms who knew absolutely everything and giving advice to the doctors.
Yeah, well, it's shocking that doing that is something that they consider a red flag. Like, what kind of mom would have a sick child or dad and not try and know everything in the world to help them when
Yeah,
we have Google available for free?
yeah. And as a matter of fact, I ended up finding, the number 1 specialist for this disorder or disease in, the United States, and he's in St. Louis, and, so we drove to St. Louis and at this time, we were living in Northwest Arkansas, and, we drove there just to meet him and to get him acquainted with Laura, because if anything were gonna happen, I wanted him to be her doctor.
Yeah.
So I went above and beyond
Mhm.
for her, and, I mean, we went to Little Rock and Memphis and St. Louis and all kinds of different places, and yeah, so I was definitely invested when I needed to be.
Yeah. Elliot, where are you at? I can't remember. She says, "Doctors here ask you, what do you think it is?" That's honestly sounds like it would prevent what we're worried about.
Yeah, and so, I actually I've had doctors ask me that before. So, "What
Mhm.
do you think it is?" I'm like, "I don't know. What do you think it is?"
Yeah. It's weird. It seems like, "Oh, Highlands of Scotland. How cool." I love
Ooh.
Scotland. I've never been there. I just have read so much about it. I have ancestry from there, and I'm sure y'all know me. I'm a history nerd, big time.
Yeah, I love anything to do with Scotland. It's on my bucket list to go there and do, metal detecting.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice. I agree, Laura, because as from what I understand, and this is just from, Googling it and talking to some people, I could still be wrong here, but I was trying to figure out whether or not they had removed female from the diagnostic criteria for MBP. And
Mhm.
from what I understand, they haven't because it's considered, a mother is the prime suspect for it.
Yeah, yeah, I think that that is, ridiculous. Yes, Janice, I am going to Springfield, this weekend, actually. Um, I will be there Sunday because I've got, obligations, but, I'll be there Sunday, and then Monday, we're going to be doing interviews, or hoping to do interviews. Depends on if anybody comes and sees us or not.
Yep, I hope they do.
I hope they do too, because, and a lot of the people on the Facebook page there in Springfield, because I put it on the Facebook pages in there, and it's also in the newspaper, and a radio station said that they would advertise it for me. So, uh,
Cool.
yeah, but I just want to go and find out about Dee Dee and learn something. I mean, nobody's really talked about Dee Dee except for Gypsy and Christy and Rod.
Right.
And so I'd like to know.
Yeah, initially people were talking about it, but after the plea deal and everything, they all kind of just shut down.
Mhm. Yeah, and, somebody I was watching a video, somebody said that, probably the reason why nobody spoke up for Dee Dee is because that allegation of MBP, and it looked so terrible
Yeah,
that, I think people were afraid to even say anything nice about her.
right. Well, and the way that the MBP was put out through the media and through all the shows and everything, everybody assumed and believes that, and I say everybody loosely in general, obviously
Yeah.
not most of us here, but, everybody assumed and believed that it wasn't just the frauding and the conning for money and trips and things like that, not just Gypsy sitting in a wheelchair when she didn't need to. They assumed that none of those surgeries were needed, that, there's absolutely nothing wrong with Gypsy because she
Mhm.
has maintained that, "Nope, I'm perfectly healthy," while in the background, as we know, being like, "I don't think I can work because of my
Mhm.
scoliosis," and all this different stuff. But, yeah, and that's part of what we're talking about here too, is realizing that at these experts saying Munchausen by proxy, we all and the general public connect that with actual medical abuse and
Mhm.
physical harm to the child in order to induce symptoms. But what we're understanding from looking more into these experts' work is they don't require that to be part of the criteria to label someone with MBP. All they have to do is fake it a little bit,
Or
and they
have a
get the
feeling.
same label as people who inject fecal matter into their kids and put drain cleaner in their feeding tubes. They put the same label on people who fudge details to get extra stuff and
Mhm.
don't actually hurt their children. It's shocking.
Yeah, it's extremely shocking, and I would like I'm gonna look into this more because I'm genuinely shocked, honestly, and frustrated because I
Yeah.
genuinely don't feel like these are the same things.
Me neither. I cannot understand how on earth physically harming the child can be put under the same label as, like I said, someone fudging details to get free stuff and
Mhm.
not physically hurting the child. I can't. It's shocking to me that they put those under the same label.
Yeah, I'm gonna write this down. Uh, Dr. Patricia Berry?
Yeah, I meant to. Was wondering who that is too. Dr. Patrice Berry. Let me Google her real quick.
Oh, Patrice. I put Patricia. Yeah, I'm gonna look her up
Rivers
and
Psychological Service. Looks like she has a YouTube channel, Dr. Patrice Berry, Psychologist Reacts. Cool, I'll
oh,
look
okay.
into her.
Yeah, me too. That would be interesting. So when I first decided that I was gonna talk about Gypsy, I had a woman who was a nurse and who was actually a mental health nurse that I wanted to help me with it, but, unfortunately, it didn't work out, so but I think it would be really good if somebody was up to date on diagnostic criteria and all of the nuances and stuff that, go into diagnosing somebody. It would be really great if we had somebody to just bounce things off of.
Yeah, if there's any way that this isn't as freaky as what it looks to us, I would like to know, but yeah, it really looks like almost anyone could be labeled with having MBP.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
Sam Sam H in the comments here says, I just really struggle to see how she could be labeled as having MBP. Well, unfortunately, the thing is, what we're finding is that these experts don't make any difference when labeling MBP and physically hurting your child versus just saying they have something to get extra stuff.
Yeah, and
That seems
that
so wrong to us, but if they're not making any difference in that, then
yeah, and so they also say in turn that Munchausen by proxy is the worst of it, right?
mhm.
But then they're still lumping hypochondria and, grifting under it.
Yeah. Instead of, reserving a label that comes with so much fear and so much immediate retribution onto the people that get that label, even suspected, instead of
Mhm,
reserving that for people who they see are actually physically harming their child to induce symptoms, they're lumping all these parents together that even get, suspicion or grift. Or what if even you had someone who has, a parent who has a condition where they have extreme brain fog? Because
mhm,
one of the criteria symptoms is providing information that differs, kind of like what Dee Dee was doing, changing the
mhm.
name a little bit, changing the birthday a little bit. What if a parent did that actually by accident because they are having, medical symptoms themselves, brain fog or whatever? They didn't
Mhm.
realize they accidentally misspelled the name or whatever. And it's easy to say, well, no parent would ever do that. But if your parents with actual medical symptoms themselves could.
Yeah, well, I know myself when I go in to see a new doctor, they're asking me questions, and half the time I have to say, "I really don't know."
Yeah.
Or or I'll say something that I think it is, and then they look at me and they're like, "Did you mean this?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, yeah."
Yeah.
So
It's hard when you're chronically ill, it's hard to remember all the stuff, so that's another way a person could just be easily flagged when they're not.
mhm, most definitely, and it makes me wonder, like, when I was little, why it took so long for them to find the hole in my heart. So I was born with it,
Mhm.
and I didn't have the surgery until I was 4 years old, and I would stop breathing in the middle of the night. My
Oh, wow.
grandma I guess this was before CPAP machines or whatever, but my grandma would actually stay up most of the night watching me and waking me up and stuff like that. So, yeah, so I wonder, it just makes me think about, what my parents and my grandma went through trying to get me diagnosed with a hole in my heart.
Wow.
Yeah, and the hole can't be found unless they go up through the growing.
Mhm.
So, you have to actually do that test in order to find it.
Ugh.
And yeah. So, and it's genetic because I have it, or I had it. My mom had it, and that's why she passed away. My uncle has it, and my great grandmother had it.
Oh, wow. I mean, I have one too, but it's mine didn't require surgery. It's there. They can see it on like a, I don't know, whatever it is where they image your heart and
An echocardiogram.
yeah, and you can see on the screen like your output.
Mhm,
You can see one area that leaks a little bit, but it wasn't bad enough for me to have any bad symptoms from it or need to be fixed.
mhm.
That's crazy that yours actually required surgery and it took them that long to find it.
Yeah, it was, and when I sit and think about it, I mean, that had to have been extremely stressful for my grandma. I mean, I'm talking about my
Mhm.
grandma because my grandma is pretty much who raised me until she had strokes, and then my mom took over after that, but, um, yeah, it it makes me have a lot more sympathy and a lot more, understanding for some of the things that happened.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and, we've been talking about what if there was, just a parent with bad brain fog and they could fall into this criteria of changing details and stuff. And brain fog is so common right now after COVID and everything like that.
Mhm.
I just, yeah, kind of lost where I was going with that, but I'm still just in shock that this is so easily diagnosed. Thank you,
Yeah.
CJ.
Yes, thank you, CJ. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I've got 8 more hours of this book to listen to, but I was actually kind of getting anxiety just listening to it because 'cause I'm freaking out for everybody else.
Right. Yeah. Um, and one thing that Dr. Kenneth Feldman that we
Mhm,
talked about before, where he got, sued by all those families. And in the end, the lawsuits didn't go anywhere because he was protected as a mandated reporter.
mhm.
He only just retired and retired in good standing in, let's see, where is it at? 2023, I think.
Oh, wow.
2022. Yeah,
Yeah.
he says served, supervised a continuity clinic in the same primary care office, Odessa Brown Children's Clinic, till 2023. He was
Hmm.
twice acting medical director at the same clinic.
Oh,
He was
wow.
medical director of the Seattle Children's Protection Program from 1983 until July 2010, retired in July 2024 as a child abuse consultant with the program. He
Mm,
previously supervised care on the PICU wards and emergency department at Seattle Children's. So it sounds like he still works with them as a consultant.
mm. Yeah, that's not okay. That's not okay at all. It's actually really scary that somebody who has a track record of misdiagnosing is able to be an expert or um, a consultant.
Yeah. What was the name of the book of that book again, Amber?
The one that I'm reading or the one that
The one that you're reading by Mark Feldman.
playing sick.
Named Sick by Mark Feldman.
Yeah.
So I found another article. It's from September 17th, 2023. And the title of it says Dr. Kenneth Feldman pushes back on child abuse cases. And it looks like it's another family that got accused and they got their baby taken away, their infant. It says, Silverdale, Kitsap County, the infant's doctor visit was supposed to be a routine wellness check. Mother Emily Massaro had a list of questions, one of them about bluish gray marks that looked to her and the pediatrician like bruises. Massaro explained the 2-month-old boy had recently fell off a bed, something she had told another doctor at the time. But this pediatrician was suspicious. Massaro and her husband, Dan, soon found themselves at the center of an abuse investigation, one that had testified when the doctor directed them to an Everett hospital, which said x-rays showed 1 or possibly 2 healing fractures in the rib and leg. The Massaros said they didn't know how the fractures occurred. Police and state social service workers arrived, informing the couple that their son would be taken away. The parents handed over their infant, blanketed in his dad's sweatshirt in the parking lot. I collapsed on the ground bawling, said Dan Massaro. Then Dr. Niran Al-Agba got on the case. A second-generation pediatrician at the Kitsap Peninsula's town of Silverdale, operating a thriving practice out of a split-level office she designed with her father, Al-Agba has become a vital part of the defense of many parents who say they were wrongly accused. Typically, she becomes involved in cases where other medical providers have reported or diagnosed abuse in an evaluation for the state. So it seems like this lady is working to help the parents that are being accused. She says, the moment I looked at those, I said, those are Mongolian spots. The
Oh,
so-called bruises were in fact birthmarks, as later confirmed by the hospital provider consulting with the Department of Children, Youth, and Families, according to a DCYF document obtained by the Seattle Times, along with other records in the case. It was the beginning of the end of the state's dependency case requesting custody from a court. The reported fractures remained a mystery. No breaks turned up in a second set of x-rays Al-Agba ordered, though she says the hospital's earlier films might indicate a birth injury. The state dismissed its custody request in July, citing no ongoing safety concerns, sent letter to the couple saying its abuse of allegations were unfounded. Even so, the couple says they were left traumatized and distrustful of healthcare providers.
So you're telling me that an actual doctor saw a Mongolian spot and didn't know what it was?
Nope. And the parent was the one who pointed it out to ask what it was and make sure they were okay.
So,
And it got the baby took.
so this baby would have been either Native American, well, probably had Native American in them at least, because usually Native Americans have those Mongolian spots. My little cousin had one.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
I didn't know what those were.
Yeah, they're usually right around the base of the spine, right around the behind. So, yeah, that, or at least that's the ones I've seen. I've seen a couple of them, but yeah.
Huh, that is crazy. Yeah, I didn't read the entire article. It's pretty long, but apparently Kenneth Feldman was involved in that one too.
Oh man,
It
who was
says
who was the person working with the family to help them?
Dr. Al-Agbra. Let me get her name spelling. Trying to find her first name after they. Okay, Dr. Niran, Niran, Al-Agba, Al-Agba. I wonder if she would interview with us.
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to her and see.
Good idea.
Yeah, I've been wanting to find somebody who's also an expert on chromosome issues,
Yeah.
because I'd really like to know more about that from somebody who really knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, me too.
Because we can read the symptoms, and some of them, like the hypersexuality and stuff like that. I find it very interesting, and I'd just like to dig a little deeper into the symptoms and what she actually may have gone through.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really curious. Well, and Gypsy we keep finding more and more things that are actually wrong with, this perfectly healthy, unscathed person. Uh, the lactose intolerant thing or milk allergy or whatever, her and Nick both reported her getting super sick after going to Waffle House and
Yeah.
having some milk. Now, a lot of people are saying that there's no way that's true because she had Pediasure through her feeding tube or through the bottle or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know how to reconcile those 2 things. I don't know how that can be true, but it it's hard to imagine her faking being sick from the Waffle House, and that's the only way I can think of that Nick would have randomly reported that. I don't know, what do you think, Amber?
So I'm actually allergic to milk. I have alpha gal syndrome, which means that I'm not supposed to eat mammal products at all. And
Gotcha.
but if I drink a glass of milk versus drinking something with some milk in it, there's a huge difference. If
Oh,
I drink a
okay.
glass of milk, I will be very sick. But if I eat or drink something with some milk in it, I'm fine.
Okay.
So,
So that
yeah.
that could actually be reconciled factually.
Yeah, yeah, in my opinion, that's yeah,
There is a
that's what I
possibility she could have Pediasure that has a milk ingredient
mhm.
and still actually get sick from drinking direct glass of milk. Hmm,
Yeah. Yeah, a direct glass of milk will make me very, very sick. So,
gotcha.
yeah, and, I I try to avoid it at all costs, so now I just use oat milk in everything that I do, but if I'm eating anything, like, for instance, mashed potatoes, I'm not really supposed to eat mashed potatoes either because 'cause I'm allergic to potatoes.
What about like coffee creamer and stuff like that?
Coffee creamer, I try to avoid it just because, it does give me a little rumble in my tummy, but it doesn't make me, like, super sick.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but a glass of milk will definitely make me super, super sick.
Okay. So yeah, I do believe that story has truth to it that, for whatever reason she got sick from the milk at Waffle House just because of the way Nick talked about it. Not that Nick is incapable of lying. We know that he can, but he's not good at it.
No,
um,
he's not.
right. He's not good at it. He's not practiced at it like Gypsy is. So, the oh crap, I glanced at chat too much and I lost my train of thought. I try to read the comments and keep up with everybody, but sometimes it causes me to lose my train of thought.
No, I know,
Oh,
me too.
so what I was going to say is I believe that that story is true
Mhm.
somehow. And it's also clear that she does have microcephaly because Bree was trying to defend it so hard by saying, she only was diagnosed as with microcephaly because her head was just 1 centimeter too small within
That's
the
a lot.
guidelines to be microcephaly. And it's like, well, then it's microcephalic. Like it's within the guidelines.
A centimeter is actually a lot.
Yeah. So that one and that one. We got the milk allergy, we got microcephaly for real, we got
Mhm,
scoliosis for real, we've got the chromosome disorder,
mhm.
and then we've got the lazy eye and the fact that the eye surgeries were necessary. That's 5 things now. 5 things that when she was small and Dee Dee didn't know what the hell any of them were, probably did give her severe health anxiety.
And the eyes.
Yeah, the eye surgeries, the lazy eye. Mhm.
Yeah, I
I
mean
counted that.
oh, you did? Okay, sorry,
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't.
it. You're good. That's the
I
5th thing.
I was trying to read the comments.
No worries. But yeah, it's just wild. And thinking about everything that we're talking about, how it seems like anyone with hypochondriac tendencies or health anxiety or even in kind of an obsessive personality of, oh, my kid's sick and I've got to know every possibility. Like
Mhm.
I'm addicted to research. I want to know everything about everything. If something catches my interest, even if it's tiny, I'm hitting Google, I'm hitting every bit of information I can find about it.
Me too.
And yeah, and any parent that already had that tendency would definitely research every single possibility if their child was sick.
Mhm.
And that's actually considered a red flag. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
that is it's there needs to be some kind of accountability for these specialists.
Yeah. And those parents tried hard. The 5 families in Seattle tried hard to hold Kenneth Feldman accountable, and they just, he has all the protection of being a mandated reporter, which messing with the protections of a mandated reporter, whoa, that'd be real sticky and scary. At the
Mhm.
same time, you got families getting wrecked emotionally, financially, physically, like, and wrecked into the future due to those red flags remaining on their file from his misdiagnoses.
Mhm. There needs to be a review board or something like that for, people being diagnosed with this, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There needs to be some kind of investigation or something instead of just slapping a label on somebody because that's what you think.
Well, and I'd really like to know, what is the point of Munchausen by proxy encompassing that diagnostic label, encompassing attention seeking behavior all the way to the spectrum of physically harming the children to induce symptoms? Why would that why would it be like that? Like, why on earth wouldn't those be completely separate diagnoses?
They really should be.
It seems to me, yeah.
I'm gonna ask my therapist.
Good call.
See what she says.
Yeah, art is life. I agree. She says mandated reporters should have a bit of leeway, but they absolutely should not be completely protected.
Yeah.
Right, because every human is capable of being wrong, capable of being corrupted, capable of being biased. And we hope that people in those positions aren't. And I believe that the majority of people that go into positions like that go into it wanting to do good,
Mhm.
but not everybody ends up good or is good or does have good intentions. And yeah, it's just a really sticky thing.
Well, and it sounds like this is more of like a passion for these doctors to talk about this.
Mhm.
So, it's more like, I don't know, it just seems like it's become something it's become its own little thing with them, I think. Like, in my personal opinion, it sounds like these doctors see this stuff everywhere.
Yeah, Feldman even Kenneth Feldman even said that he thinks that, I think Mark Feldman might have said it too. They both said something along the lines of they think there's so much undiagnosed Munchausen by proxy. And Mark Feldman made a statement about other MBP experts where he said that some of them start seeing MBP around every corner. And he
Yes.
said something that implied to the point of exhibiting the symptoms or something like that, or similar symptoms themselves. But I see Mark Feldman as doing similar things.
Me too. I heard that in the book, and so I was like, "Oh, dang."
Right. Lady Next, no, apparently they're not related. It's just
No.
a weird coincidence, apparently, that they both have the same last name and same area of expertise.
Mhm. Yeah, it's, kinda weird. I went down a little rabbit hole today trying to figure out who these 2 guys were and, if they were related, and it seems like Mark Feldman hasn't had any, he hasn't done anything salacious or anything like that, from what I can tell,
Hmm.
but, Kenneth Feldman is the one that has definitely misdiagnosed people.
Yeah.
I was trying to
Yeah, I
find if
didn't
he had misdiagnosed anybody or anything like that, and I couldn't find anything.
I didn't find anything from a quick Google on Mark Feldman either.
Mhm.
Just some really odd and questionable articles and stuff he's wrote about it. He coined in the late 90s, early 2000s Munchausen by internet. And
I saw
it seems like he's just focused on the brain structure of people
Mhm,
who want to seek attention by any means to the point where, like I said, he really doesn't differentiate that from physical abuse.
mhm. I
He's
agree.
just fascinated with the brain functions of the people who do these things, and I'm not. I don't understand why if someone murders or hurts a child, I don't understand why anyone's interested in their mind workings or why they would do it. I don't give a flying fuck. Like, if you think they murdered or hurt a child, I don't care why they did it. Like, just put them under the jail. Now, an caveat to that is murder was someone actually trying to get away from being harmed in self defense, not like Gypsy Rose, but a real
Yeah.
actual physical fight situation is different. But
Mhm,
in general, you know what I mean?
mhm. No, I agree, I agree. I had a prisoner reach out to me who had, killed his infant son, and, I decided to break communication with him about a year ago or whatever, because
Mhm.
he reached out to me to talk to me about prison reform and stuff, but then he was, like, talking about conjugal visits and stuff, and I'm like, "Dude, no, I
Yeah, fuck
I'm
all the way
not."
off.
Yeah. Like, no, let's not go there.
Yep.
So, yeah, I was trying to, just help people, and unfortunately, sometimes people get my number, um, they get I've had lots of prisoners call me. Let's just
Gotcha.
say that.
Yeah.
And my cousin's constantly saying, watch out, somebody's calling you."
That's funny. Yeah, because of the nature of some the way that some in the true crime genre are, people who've done murder assume that every podcast wants to know the inner working of their brain, and I personally don't.
Well, I will say in this case with Gypsy Rose Blanchard, we have so much information about how her brain works.
Oh, yeah.
And, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody, does some kind of research paper on her or something.
That's a good point. I've been saying I have no interest in how the brain of a murderer works, but I dissect Gypsy Rose all the time. Maybe I'm being blind to my own actions here.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, at the end of the day, that's what we're doing really is,
Yeah,
why
for
is she
real.
doing this?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I see it as because she's out and most of the public thinks a way different story than what we know of what actually happened based on our FOIA documents, that we're spreading awareness to prevent more people from being taken in by a murderer with a clear pattern of grifting.
Mhm,
When a murderer is in prison and not out in the public with the ability to affect the public like that, or getting a platform from shows and different podcasts and things like that, then I don't feel the need to dissect as a public warning, you know what I mean?
mhm.
And talk
Yeah,
about what they did because they're locked up and the public is safe from them.
mhm.
So I see Gypsy as different because she's out and roaming around free.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a public safety issue.
Oh, I agree with that. I agree
Yeah.
with that. There is one person that I would really like to know more about, like, what he was thinking, and that's, Israel Keys.
I don't guess I know who that is.
Ooh, that's a scary guy. Very, very scary guy. He's a serial killer who actually, had, like, buckets buried in different places all over the country, kill kits.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, that guy, whew, but he ended up taking his own life before he shared much about anything.
wow. Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
never heard of him. That's wild.
Yeah, that guy is, very, very fascinating.
Yeah, Artist Life says, and now she's on social media acting like it's nothing at all, and all she did was a petty crime or something. Yeah, that's something that really
So 10
bothers
years
me is
ago.
yeah, it's so 10 years ago, and I didn't do the actual kill. I don't identify as a murderer, all this stuff. Like, that's why I feel like she's a threat to public safety because
Mhm,
she is really trying to downplay murder. As
mhm.
I made one mistake.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, she's acting like it was a mistake.
Yeah, not 2
Not a
years of
mistake.
grooming.
And the way that so you went over some of the text messages in one of your videos recently.
Yeah, the last 24 hours of text messages between her and Nick before the murder.
Yeah, and it's like they weren't even on the same page. They didn't even it's like Nick had no idea what she was even talking about half the time. It seemed like he was just off in his own little world, and she was
Mhm.
oh my goodness. I cannot believe some of the stuff they were saying.
Yeah, it was very weird. And then that whole, like, 12 hours where they don't talk and Nick's getting mad, but then whenever I was reading the casebook further on, did they do those texts as part of their cover?
That's what it seems like. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to untangle because unfortunately that lady who interrogated Nick didn't follow any of the threads that he offered up.
Mhm,
All she wanted to know was how many times did he stab Dee Dee and did he do anything sexual? And she didn't seem to care about all the rest of the details of the plan that he was offering up.
mhm. Now, did you notice that so she talks about going and meeting somebody to have sex with, right?
Mhm.
But then she comes back around and says that she met that person but didn't have sex with them, didn't she?
Is that in the text or
It's in the text because I was just listening to another video going over the text.
I
Um,
haven't I only read the text from the last 24 hours, like June 9th and 10th. But the rest of them, I haven't really looked at since last year, so I can't remember what all was in them. But I do remember her saying asking Nick if she wanted to meet someone for sex,
would it be
could
okay?
she?
Yeah.
And I can't remember the rest of it.
I'll send you the video I was watching, but yeah,
Okay.
it's, I don't know. I don't know why I brought that up, but yeah, it's important, I think, for everybody, for the mainstream media, for everybody to know what really happened, and because of the fact that she has so many followers on TikTok and teenagers have reached out to her and they're going on that OME TV,
Mhm.
people need to know that she is a dangerous person.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
if people aren't aware, they're not gonna be watching her.
Yep.
And I think she's somebody that needs to be constantly watched because she's
Yeah.
up to so much stuff on a regular basis. Can you imagine what she's really doing
There's
right
no
now?
telling. Oh, there's no telling. She's probably got Jeff, Brian, Sebastian, Italy guy, all of them in the exact same tangles that she did in prison.
I really think she does. I really
Yeah.
think she does, and I think that she's got lots and lots of, social media accounts, and,
Mhm.
um, yeah, so
That's another thing I was surprised about in the casebook. Whenever I read through the casebook, I learned about more social media accounts than we even knew.
mhm,
Like the multiple Yahoo ones and, Cajun Angel or something like that. It's the patterns just really stay the same. It's wild.
mhm, and I'm wondering why they didn't pull any of those messages.
Well, they subpoenaed them from Yahoo. I don't know if they never got them or if the plea deal was done before they got received back and added to the casebook.
Oh,
But I'd read in the casebook, that's how I knew those names because Stan Hancock logged his subpoena to Yahoo and all of the different usernames Gypsy had that they were requesting her messages from.
Hmm.
So they requested them. They weren't ignoring that.
Okay, so I need to write that down too. I need to ask the records person about that.
Yeah, there's the names will be there too.
Okay. Sorry about the Yahoo account.
And I think it talked about subpoena or sending a request of Facebook about her messages too. I feel like it mentioned a Facebook account that was new to me, but I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't even remember. It's been so long since I've read any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I need to really go through all of the documents again.
I'm really curious what pissed Gypsy off and caused her to block Aaliyah again before the murder. Because they were talking in October 2014.
Mhm.
That's when Gypsy was telling her all about Nick and baby names and blah, blah, blah. And Aaliyah said whenever she come to the crime scene and told them about the messages that she couldn't remember Gypsy's actual account name on that account because Gypsy got mad and blocked her. And you can see in the messages from that I read from the FOIA where she's blocked because it says, Facebook user instead of the account name, and you can't see her profile picture because she blocked it. I wonder what pissed her off.
I guess I didn't realize she blocked her.
Yep, she blocked her after talking to her like that before the murder.
Oh, because she was, the detective had mentioned Aaliyah, and Gypsy said, "Her? She's a bully."
Mhm. Yep.
So I would imagine she probably saw something Gypsy was doing and told her mom or something.
She wasn't talking to Dee Dee, she was scared of Dee Dee in October 2014.
Yeah, but I think she probably told her mom,
Oh, I
and
gotcha.
then her mom probably told Dee Dee.
Yeah, Gypsy said in that one message to Aaliyah, "Oh, about the Harley Quinn picture, I'm not crazy," or about the knife picture, "I'm not crazy, I was cosplaying Harley Quinn."
Doesn't even look like Harley Quinn.
No, not at all.
Doesn't even have the right colors or anything.
Yep.
Oh, she's a wackadoo.
So much wackadoo. And the patterns are what blow me away, like the same behaviors over and over and over. And it was so shocking to me in that live. Like, who on earth would refer to themselves as a cockroach that just keeps coming back?
I can't believe she said that.
Like, really? Wow.
You know, to even have that mindset to refer to yourself as a cockroach, oh my goodness.
Mhm. Yeah.
Definitely not something I would say.
Me neither. Sometimes she slips up and the truth comes out of her mouth a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, she does, actually quite a bit.
I think she knows she's a cockroach.
Oh
Oh,
my
man.
goodness. Well, I don't know how this thing's gonna go in Springfield this weekend, but I'm excited to try and learn something new. I'm
Yeah,
hoping
for
at least
sure.
one person, shows up.
Yeah, I hope so too. I'm really curious to see what y'all find out.
Yeah, I thought about putting something, in the Aurora paper or whatever, but I was like, "No, I'll just leave them alone."
Oh, my
Yeah.
husband's calling me a menace in the comments.
Uh, I guess I'm a public menace too.
Yep.
That's
According
what
to
everybody thinks.
she who must not be named, we
I
are
know,
quite
right?
quite the internet menaces.
I know. Dude.
Oh, well, do
Oh
you
my
have
goodness.
anything further you want to hit on about the MBP discrepancies before we get off here?
No, I think I'm good. Like I said, I still have 8 hours to listen to this book. I've listened to about 2 hours, something like that. So, I'm sure I will have a lot more talking points after I'm done with it. But overall, what I've noticed is that it's a very scary thing and there needs to be some oversight.
Yeah, with a diagnosis like MBP, where they can instantly just remove your children and your life is wrecked trying to prove that you're not this, it just feels like the criteria for the diagnosis shouldn't be that squishy and unsolid.
Mhm. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
So, we can
Well,
do
friends,
another one.
yeah, for sure. We'll have to read more and come back here and talk with everybody about it again.
Yeah, thank you for having me, though.
Yes, thanks for coming up, and thank you all for being here in the comments.
Yes.
Adding to the information we've got, a lot of y'all put out some really good things in the comments.
Yeah, a lot of these people, really pay attention.
Yeah, y'all do really awesome research. I appreciate everything the all y'all send me to help me out. It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well,
Well,
I
I'm
hope
gonna
everybody has a blessed day.
thank you so much. I'm gonna go ahead and end it now. I hope y'all have a good day. Have
Bye,
fun,
everybody.
friends. Bye.